Charles Darwin wrote that it was probable that Africa was formerly inhabited by extinct apes closely allied to the gorilla and chimpanzee, and as these two species are now man's nearest allies, it is somewhat more probable that our early progenitors lived in the African continent than elsewhere. The first and one of the most important finds centered on the discovery, in 1856, of the famous brain pan or cranium at Neanderthal Valley in Rhenish Prussia. This object was examined in succeeding years by various naturalists. With its considerable dimensions, receding forehead, its enormous orbital ridges and its flattened brain box, the skull presented an extraordinary appearance. Schaffhausen in Germany and Huxley in England declared it the most bestial of all known human skulls, and emphasized its simian or monkey-like characteristics. According to Schaffhausen, when it is found from these numerous examples that a marked prominence of the supraorbital region, traces of which can be perceived even at the present time, occurs most frequently in the crania of barbarous and especially of northern races, to some of which a high antiquity must be assigned. It may fairly be supposed that a conformation of this kind represents the faint vestiges of a primitive type, which is manifested in the most remarkable manner in the Neanderthal cranium, and which must have given the human visage an unusually savage aspect. This aspect might be termed brutal, inasmuch as the prominent supraorbital border is also characteristic of the facial conformation of the large apes, although in these animals the prominence in question is not caused by any expansion of the frontal sinuses. These sinuses have been found to be wholly wanting, as well in the gorilla, a circumstance which is in accordance with the weak bodily constitutions of the savages, he concluded. In the mature chimpanzee and gorilla, the supraorbital ridges are, as is well known, remarkably developed. In the former case, we are not aware that the enlargement is accompanied with any expansion of the frontal sinuses, which in fact do not exist in that ape, but it is due simply to a projection of the margin of the orbit, which cavity is larger in proportion to the skull behind it than it is in the human subject, and is thus in accordance with the greater development of the face generally, wrote Marcel Imboul in 1911. In the old gorilla, on the other hand, although the bone itself is enormously thickened in the monstrous projection above the orbit, there are very large frontal sinuses. However this may be, the protuberance in question must be regarded as showing a very savage type, and in the extent to which it exists in the Neanderthal cranium, it affords a character in which that skull approaches that of the gorilla and chimpanzee. Next, we are impressed by the Neanderthal's bestial appearance, or rather by the general effect of its simian characteristics. Brain box, elongated in form, is much depressed, the forehead is very receding, the occipital region very projecting and much depressed. The face is long and projects forwards. The orbits are enormous. The nose, separated from the forehead by a deep depression, is short and very broad. By a prolongation of the malar bones, the upper jaw forms a kind of muzzle. The lower jaw is strong and thick, the chin rudimentary. In the Frenchman, on the contrary, the face is much reduced, and the brain box greatly developed. Between these two extremes lies the skull from La Chapelle aux Saints. While it is more akin to that of its congener, modern man, in regard to the face, in regard to the brain box, it is almost intermediate between man and the chimpanzee. Until recent years, the study of other parts of the skeleton was somewhat neglected. The skeletons from La Chapelle aux Saints and La Ferracie, which were almost complete and well preserved, have enabled the study to be taken up afresh and completed. In general, these skeletons, composed of relatively short, thick bones, with large articular heads and powerful muscle attachments, give evidence of great strength. They have retained a large number of simian vestiges. The great development of the face, the backward position of the foramen magnum, which must have caused the body to incline forward, the slighter curve of the cervical and lumbar regions of the vertebral column, and the distinctly simian arrangement of the cervical vertebrae all testify to this fact. Brain formation, presenting numerous primitive or simian characteristics, especially in the relatively great reduction of the frontal lobes and the general pattern of the convolutions. The numerous simian traits which it has retained are so many relics still strongly in evidence of an ancestral state. Doubtless, some of these characteristics are perhaps not altogether primitive traits, but rather the consequences of special physiological adaptations. The foot of our fossil man could probably, as is still observed in some wild populations, play the role of a pincer and grasp objects between the first two toes. Nevertheless, the bust created by Boole, shown of course without skin, far from emphasizing a simian or bestial tendency, an easy thing to have done, he has clung as far as possible to the human feeling. Neanderthals were incredibly strong, even more so than modern humans. Their bones were significantly denser and thicker, supporting large muscle attachments that indicated powerful musculature. Estimates suggest that Neanderthals had up to 25% more muscle mass than the average modern Frenchman, giving them exceptional raw strength. Neanderthals' strength was adapted for activities such as hunting large animals, manipulating heavy tools, building shelters, and enduring harsh environments. Their upper body strength, especially in the arms and shoulders, was particularly pronounced, allowing them to throw spears and perform tasks that required sustained force. While they had powerful legs, their build favoured shorter, stockier limbs designed for stability and support, rather than running speed. This strength was advantageous for lifting and carrying heavy loads and moving efficiently over rough terrain. Gorillas, on the other hand, had greater absolute strength. Gorillas are among the strongest land animals relative to their body size. Adult male gorillas, silverbacks, can be 4 to 10 times stronger than an average adult human. Their upper body strength is especially remarkable, allowing them to lift weights over 1,800 kilograms, around 4,000 pounds. Gorillas possess massive chest and shoulder muscles, optimized for climbing, fighting, and manipulating their environment. Their strength is adapted for knuckle walking, pulling themselves up into trees, and protecting their group from threats. Gorillas also have powerful jaw muscles for chewing tough plant material, which contributes to their impressive head and neck strength. Neanderthals were agile for their size, but their agility was different from that of modern humans or other primates. They were adapted for powerful short bursts of movement rather than sustained, rapid motion. Their build prioritized strength and endurance over speed. Neanderthals were highly capable of navigating rugged, uneven terrain, which required a balance between strength and moderate agility. This adaptation was essential for their hunting practices, which involved close-range ambushes and endurance-based tracking. Neanderthals evolved to survive in cold, harsh environments where strength was crucial for hunting large animals. Their agility was sufficient for navigating complex terrain, but was not as developed for tree climbing or quick evasion as it is in arboreal primates. Their wide pelvis and short limbs provided a lower center of gravity, supporting balance and power but limiting sprinting ability. Gorillas have long, powerful arms and a larger body-to-arm ratio than Neanderthals, making them more suited for vertical and climbing activities. Neanderthals' strength-to-weight ratio was impressive compared to modern humans, but it may not have matched that of gorillas. Neanderthals were built for robust, functional strength, involving endurance and heavy lifting over long periods. Gorillas have a higher strength-to-weight ratio due to their specialized muscle structure and natural adaptations for power. Their ratio is optimized for short bursts of tremendous force, such as when fighting or climbing. Neanderthal strength and moderate agility were adapted for survival activities, such as hunting, foraging, and enduring cold climates. They could haul large prey, build tools and shelters, and navigate rocky landscapes. Gorillas' strength and agility are geared towards climbing, feeding, and territorial defense. They can tear apart vegetation, climb with ease, and defend their group with powerful physical displays and aggression. While both Neanderthals and gorillas are incredibly strong, their strength and agility are adapted to different lifestyles and environments. Neanderthals had impressive functional strength suitable for human activities such as hunting and tool use, with agility suited to rugged terrestrial movement. Gorillas, on the other hand, possess unmatched upper body strength and agility adapted for climbing and powerful short-distance bursts, making them more agile in trees but less versatile on the ground compared to Neanderthals. Both have evolved to excel in their respective niches, demonstrating the diverse ways strength and agility can be adapted for survival. Zhoukoudian man lived 500,000 years ago in China. The facial reconstruction required giving him a much thicker neck than any modern man. Both the back of the skull and the powerful chinless jaw revealed muscle attachments that made such a neck unmistakable. Similarly, the cheeks had to be shaped to fit the muscle mass required to operate that heavy jaw. Brow ridges were extremely prominent on the species, including their women. The most notable feature is the skull's low, flat arch. The arch of this skull top from front to back provides compelling evidence. It is the flattest and most gorilla-like of any known human skull, even flatter than one of the two skulls from Java, though the forehead is slightly higher. A sharp notch between the forehead and the thick ridge of the beetling brows is also gorilla-like. This feature is much more prominent in Homo erectus skulls. The position of the opening through which the spinal cord passes is an intermediate feature between apes and modern humans. In apes, this is located at the back of the skull and points outward. In modern humans, it is located well below the base of the skull and points upward. This opening can be seen from the back of Zhoukoudian man, just below the base of the skull. The brain inside that unusually shaped skull was quite small, but still within the human size range. Its average volume was 1,000 cubic centimeters, as measured by the water displacement method. The largest Homo erectus skull ever collected has a capacity of 1,220 cubic centimeters, far inferior to the modern European average of 1,350 cubic centimeters. Several of the 9 skulls collected thus far have been intact enough to allow brain casts to be made within their skull cases, allowing us to determine the size, shape and total volume of the brain. It is a small and flat brain with several structures that closely resemble those found in the brains of apes. Jaws and teeth, as well as skull and brain, provide evidence for their primitiveness. Apes have jaws with teeth arranged in a narrow horseshoe arch, and this ancient Chinese human has jaws that are less human and more ape-like. The canine teeth, while not as fang-like as those seen in gorillas, were noticeably larger and much longer-rooted than the corresponding teeth in our own jaw. Testosterone and other hormones play a crucial role in the strength and physical capabilities of gorillas. Male silverback gorillas have higher levels of testosterone than humans. Testosterone promotes muscle growth, strength and aggression, which are essential for a male gorilla's role in social hierarchy, mate competition and territory defense. Testosterone and other growth hormones stimulate muscle protein synthesis, which leads to the development and maintenance of their powerful muscles. This is particularly prominent in male silverbacks, who need large, strong muscles to display dominance and protect their group. The higher levels of testosterone in male gorillas stimulate muscle growth and help maintain their powerful build. It also enhances their bone density and overall physical robustness, which supports their strength and ability to perform demanding physical tasks. Testosterone affects behaviors linked to dominance, especially in male gorillas. It encourages displays of power and confidence, such as chest beating and aggressive posturing, which are vital for social standing and breeding rights within gorilla troops. Hormonal differences contribute to the physical differences between male and female gorillas. Males are much larger and stronger, partly due to their higher levels of testosterone and other androgens, which drive the growth of muscles and bones to a greater degree than in females. In addition to testosterone, gorillas have high levels of growth hormone and insulin-like growth factor. These hormones support tissue growth and repair, increase muscle mass, and enhance recovery after physical exertion. This contributes to their powerful physique and ability to maintain strength over time. Hormones like testosterone also enhance recovery after physical activity, which allows gorillas to engage in demanding activities frequently without as much fatigue. This recovery ability supports their active lifestyle, which involves foraging, climbing, and defending territory. Over time, gorillas have evolved to produce these hormones at higher levels as a result of natural selection. This adaptation supports their survival, as their impressive strength and agility enable them to fend off predators, compete with rivals, and navigate their challenging environments efficiently. Overall, Hormones such as testosterone and growth hormone are essential for the development and maintenance of the physical traits that make gorillas strong and agile. Their high levels of these hormones contribute significantly to their muscular build, bone strength, and physical strength.